Let's kick off. Welcome to the ordinary meeting of Council, 18 December 2024. Last one for the year. We'll start with the opening prayer. I know in the future we'll be asking the council to do this, but I'll get it through tonight. Almighty God, be with us as we work for the people of the Shire and Moorabool. Grant us the wisdom we may take care for the Shire as true stewards of your creation. May we be aware of the great responsibilities placed upon us. Help us to be just in all our dealings, and may our work prosper for the good of all. Amen. We'll move into the acknowledgement of country. I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting. I pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging, and any Aboriginal elders from other communities that may be here today, which is obviously there's not. Also, we'll note on item 3 that these meetings are recorded for the benefit of the Moorabool News and Star Weekly. That's already been granted. They've been granted permission to do that. So, in terms of apologies, we have none. Everyone is present. Can I get someone to confirm the minutes of the last meeting, Wednesday, 4 December? Please. Thank you, Councillor Minari. Councillor Keogh. Those in favour? So carried. Right. Now, at this point, I'll ask if there's anyone that's got a disclosure of a conflict of interest and anything on tonight's agenda. I assume not. Thank you. Righto. Well, now we'll move into public question time, of which we have 2 questions, and I think Mr. Jeffries got the first one. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. The first question is from Dottie Hazel for the Bacchus Marsh Easter Fest. And the question is, I'm wanting to discuss the new council waste management rules around the use of council's events waste trailer. It currently holds up to 10 240 litre bins that we and other groups have been using for many years for our events. This year they have changed the rule to say that larger events can no longer use the trailer and must hire their own bins. This adds more cost to our event, and many event organisers bring in a skip bin to empty the rubbish throughout the day, along with separating the bottles and cans for the container scheme. We do not empty any rubbish bins at Council's resource centre because all is taken via the skip bin contractor. So there is no physical cost to Council for waste management side of things. Can Council revisit the plan and look at adjusting it to allow for those of us who bring in skip bins for events to continue to use the Council events trailer for all our events, please? And the response is, following discussion with the event applicant, the matter has now been resolved. Currently, event planners may borrow our sustainable events trailer to manage waste and recycling for their event. The trailer holds a set of 4 recycling and 4 garbage bins. After the event, organisers can empty the bins at any of our transfer stations at no charge. Organisers are required to provide a $200 deposit, which will be returned after the event trailer is returned, and the trailer is available on a first-in, first-served basis via an application system.
Thank you, Mr. Jeffrey. The next question goes to Mr. CEO. You will, sir.
The question is from Dean Harrison from Council Watch, and the question is, what is the approximate cost for public council meetings for councillor and staff meals, refreshment and beverages, if applicable? Light refreshments and non-alcoholic beverages are offered to councillors and officers in attendance at council meetings. The current average cost of catering per meeting is $159.
Thank you. Well, they're moving right along. We've got no petitions tonight. We'll move on to item 10. There's no presentation of deputations. So we'll get into number 11, community strengthening reports. We'll start off with 11.1, community grant recommendations, August 2024 round. Council, there's a recommendation there. We've got someone who can move it. Thank you, Councillor Keogh. We've got a second. Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Those in favour? It's okay. And a question from Councillor Sullivan.
My question is, Mr Mayor, given the changing economic circumstances within this state, I sort of see a possibility that agencies that are getting funded by government are going to start trying to utilise grant money such as ours. So I think we need to be mindful of that going forward. that we don't fill the void left by government, which would be, and these other agencies may seem to wish to tap into that. So I suppose it was just a comment.
That's a good comment to be making, mate. Absolutely. So, councillors, that was approved, or it's gone through. So we'll go to 11.2, Community Asset Committee Guidelines Review, seeking to undertake community consultation. Councillors, a recommendation there in the papers. Have we got someone who can move it, please? Thank you, Councillor Berry. Thank you, second, Councillor Ward. Those in favour?
Just a
I had a question.
Well, question.
Comment? Yes.
I think this needs to go out. It's timely it does go out. The time, anything that goes out before Christmas is problematic, so I'm just saying, I know we've got 6 weeks there, but if because we've got to get out people, it's a time of year that people are preoccupied. So I suppose we just want to make sure that if some come in after that date, we at least give them consideration. The other question I have is, or comment, they're called community asset guidelines. Guidelines sort of suggest, well, they're optional. It's like so I guess it's just something to consider. And it would be of benefit, I think, somewhere in the complete document when it comes back, there's a schedule that actually lists all the committees, CAC committees within the Shire, which I think it'd be quite useful to have that.
Thank you. That's very good. Righto, let's get back to where we were. We're moved by Councillor Berry, seconded by Councillor Ward. Any dissent? Those in favour? And it's so carried. Right, now we have an item 12.1, which may not be on your agenda list, but it's in the document. I assume that everybody's read that? No? Yes? There is a recommendation there. Thank you, Councillor Ward will move that. A second, please. Thank you, Councillor Minari. Any dissent? Those in favour? So carried. Right, other reports we don't have any. Notice of motion we have nil. Notice of rescission we have nil. So that leads us into urgent business, of which I know we have a couple of items. Can we start with you, Councillor Sullivan, because we'll have to approve.
No urgent business,
No urgent
Mr. Mayor.
business. Councillor Kerr.
Urgent business, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Taylor.
No urgent business.
We
General?
have a problem here, don't we?
General business?
We don't have a GB here.
Council reports?
We'll do it anyway. We'll do it in council reports. Thank you. Councillor Minari.
No urgent business, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Freeman.
No urgent business.
Councillor Berry.
No urgent business.
Councillor Bingham.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I do have some urgent business I'd like to table. If I can please grant permission from councillors to introduce urgent business in relation to the new fire service levy the government are planning to impose.
Councillor Bingham's moving to introduce some urgent business. Can I have a seconder for that? Councillor Sullivan. Do I have any dissent? Those in favour? So carried. Councillor Bingham, if you give us a preamble first, please don't give up your debate in case there is one. A quick preamble.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The Fire Service Property Levy is to be replaced by the Emergency Services and Volunteers Fund in 2025. Now is the ideal time to return the taxation for the delivery of centralised services back to the state government and for local government to no longer be the collection agency for such a confusing tax that it is ill-equipped to explain to its residents. Some quick facts: total revenue increase for 2024-2025 is a whopping 31%. Over 11 years since the scheme has been in place, the total revenue take has increased by over 92%, and council have charged a total of over $40 million over this period to its residents. Now, there is a graph here that gives a breakdown that I won't go through it today, and those watching, you can certainly view this document in the minutes. I've just been presented with the Weekly Times that came out today. The front page, levy hike robs farmers. Just 8% of the extra $616 million government to collect will go to volunteers, so only just 8%. Now, I just want a quick quote in this paragraph here. The Merino Group officer, Wayne Munro, said that the government was doing nothing more than slugging farmers and hardworking people with high taxes because they can't afford to pay their public servant. So my motion is as follows. I request the CEO write to the Premier, the Minister for Local Government and our local members requesting the following. 1. A change to the collection of the new Emergency Services and Volunteers Fund. Mirrabul Shire feels that local government via its property rating system rate notice is not the correct agency to be collecting over $40 million in state taxation. Also, could the Shire please have, number 2, an explanation as to how the fire service levy as collected through Mirrabul rates and totalling $40 million plus since its inception has been allocated. Number 3, what is the current and future percentage of levy raised to be returned to CFA infrastructure and other agencies within Mirrabul Shire? And lastly, number 4, the CEO to also write a letter to all local government CEOs and the MAV requesting that they also write to the Minister for Local Government, requesting that the new Emergency Services and Volunteers Fund is collected by state government as it is not appropriate for local government to collect a statewide tax. Thank you.
Councillor Bingham. So we'll take that as moved. Now you had a question, Councillor Ward.
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. Thank you on putting that forward, Councillor Bingham. I just have a question for my own clarity. So the fire services levy was introduced 11 years ago and it's increased by over 92%, you say, and the new levy that it's going to replace it is proposed to increase by 31%, and it's going to be invoiced on behalf of the state government on our rates notice. So you're telling me that the rate capping that is imposed upon shires and councils across the state, whilst it is invoiced on our rates, it's not applicable. The rate cap does not apply to the state government's charge.
Just bring it through the chair and then go back to you, Councillor Bingham.
Thank you. Through the chair, that is a very valid point raised, and some other councillors in this room have certainly raised that with me. You're correct in what Councillor Ward is saying, is that the state government imposes a rate capping, which is well below CPI, yet the government can just go and increase their rates by 30%, 100%. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's equitable for the residents. And certainly, as the farmers have highlighted in the weekly times, they're not happy either.
Right, thanks. Councillor Bingham, now you've moved this. We need a seconder for this, obviously.
No, I've just got a question.
Yes, you can. Yes.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I've got my rate notices from my house now. The CFA, it was called the CFA residential charge, and also, I'm not sure, there was 2 lines. So my question is, then it became the fire services property levy. Now it will be becoming the Emergency Services and Volunteers Fund. Why are there 2 separate charges on the rates? How is that an increase 91% on the fixed charge, or is that over the whole 2 charges? And what are the 2 different charges? I'm not understanding.
You'll take that, Mr. CEO.
Through the chair, I'll have to take that on notice as to what the 2 charges are. The data here is the Forest Services levy. I'm not too sure what the 2 charges are. I'd have to look into that and take it on notice.
Okay. Councillor Bingham.
Through the chair, I might be able to answer that.
Councillor Bingham, no, this is...
No.
You can't move it and then start answering questions. We probably shouldn't have allowed the first question to you. It should have come to someone else. Now, we've got it moved, but we have another question.
I did have a second question, thanks, Mr Mayor. I like this idea that we find out information with all this going on. More so, I'd be concerned at what is the Emergency Services and Volunteers Fund going to bring forward to us. I'm also concerned that if it goes back to state government, could the fees then increase because they don't have anything in place? They then have to put officers in place that have extra expenses. So, yeah, I'm concerned of how they could do that, and that it would increase our fire levy services or Emergency Services and Volunteers Fund going forward.
I'm concerned with going off the motion. The motion is to write a letter. So if it comes back and we have something that's relevant to that, we can certainly deal with it. But at this point in time, unless you've got something to offer that would add to the letter or a question regarding the letter.
That's what I was sort of erring to the, so adding to the letter, because we know it's going to become the Emergency Services and Volunteers Fund, what does that involve?
So you're suggesting an amended motion at this point?
Just, yeah, to add.
What
an
is your
extra
amended
point.
motion?
To ask a question about what the future Emergency Services and Volunteers Fund will be and includes.
We have two options here. One, we can put it back to the mover. Thank you,
Would you,
Mr Seah.
Number 3.
it does that come?
Hang on, just hold a sec. Hold a sec.
Read number 3.
Hang on, just bring it back to the chair. Mr Seah, you've got the floor.
Through the Chair, there was a media release from State Government that I think I issued either last week or the week before, which itemises it doesn't itemise the allocation basis, but it allocates what the levy is going to fund, and it's items like 000 and these kind of services. So that information is in the public domain as to what it's going to fund. It's not giving you a percentage as to how the total will be broken down, because I don't think they would know that yet, but that information is in the public domain.
Thank you. So we'll go back to, we've got an amended motion. Well, it could be that, or we could ask the mover of the original motion to include that.
Can you just include those words?
Yeah, I'm more than happy to include that, Mr Mayor.
Have we got enough information there for the minute taker, so we don't end up with a hotspot thing? I know Councillor Solomon was going to second it, but are you happy with the amendment?
I'll second it. Sorry, Mr Mayor, I'll second it with
Thank you,
those
Councillor
that
Solomon.
amendment. Thank you.
Is there any dissent? Dissent, so you want to debate this?
Well, I don't approve the letter. Sorry, Mr Mayor.
Oh, no, so there's a debate. So, Councillor Bingham, what's yours?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Now, this motion is effectively piggybacking off a motion I did about 8 years ago in terms of the fire service levy, because I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's equitable for residents of Moorabool to be paying for the mismanagement of funds in state government. This is just an extra tax. They can call it whatever they like. But as the front page in the Weekly Times has told us, just 8% of the extra charge will go to the volunteers. So 92% of this extra charge is going elsewhere. And we don't know where that's going. It's certainly not being spent in Moorabool. Now, I'm happy to pay for CFA infrastructure and things like that, and I've granted many applications, and so has fellow councillors. But when CFA are going to state government and continually being knocked back for funding for things like a car that was taken off the road, the state government refused to pay for an 11,000 fire hydrant trailer. The state government refused to pay for the new fire tower up in Kamida. We paid for that, and I'm more than happy to pay for that. But we pay the fire service levy for a reason, and clearly it's not being paid as it should be.
Thank you. Councillor Freeman.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I feel that someone is going to collect it. We're either going to collect it on your council rates or you're going to get a separate bill. There's no two ways about it. And I think there were other things out in the arena they were thinking about doing. They were also, I did a bit of searching, and they were looking at like an Army Reserve type of thing for volunteers, because I know in the past they haven't been paid. They've had to leave their farms or their jobs and have had to go out and not be paid for those. But I just feel, actually there is one question I would ask Councillor Bingham through the chair.
We're in a debate.
Oh, right, okay.
You can ask a question.
Well, I'd just like to know where the letter came from. Was it, is this going out to all from other councils as well? Is this being put forward to other councils to go out? And I just don't believe this is the right arena for it.
We're talking about the letter that Councillor Bingham's put up as a...
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's Councillor Bingham's, so...
Right, okay. That's fine, but I feel it's more political than council, local government. I don't want our residents to pay any more than they have to, but I feel that if you don't get it this way, they're going to come at you another way.
So
No,
just to be
and it
clear,
will.
this is about writing a letter to the government, so you're against that?
On this particular subject, yes, the
no,
way it is.
no, that's what I just
Yeah, I just feel there's not enough in it.
Yep.
There's not any options. What options are you giving the government? There isn't any there.
Thank you.
And I feel if you're going to put something like that forward, you have to look at the options.
Yeah, fair enough. Thanks, Councillor Freeman. Councillor Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, as the seconder to the motion. I think basically what it comes down to, there's been a significant uplift in this tax. More so, I think, as my councillor colleagues touched upon, far greater than CPI or any other increase that may be out there. I sort of think, well, this is sort of standing up for our residents and council to say, hang on, this is really what it's about. And it's fair to say that we have a lot of residents in our community who are doing it tough. Significant rate increases and cost of living increases have taken their toll on our residents. And this might be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And if council doesn't stand up for the residents and sort of say, hey, we think this is not reasonable, who will? And it is a letter. We're just saying, look, this is... And that's part of our advocacy role as councillors, to do this. And where we sort of see that our communities have been affected and adversely affected, to respond accordingly. So, Mr Mayor, I would commend the motion on that basis. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sullivan. Any other councillors wish to speak for or against? Councillor Ward, for or against?
I'll be for. I'll be brief, Mr Mayor. The biggest crisis facing everyone in the community today is the cost of living. And, with the cost of living crisis, we're seeing increasing homelessness, and we're seeing increasing domestic violence, and we're seeing increase of, a whole lot of other tragic situations that I won't go into. And I agree with Councillor Sullivan's comments that this could be the straw that breaks the camel's back. It does not sit well with me that the state government would be proposing 92% fee increases over 11 years for a levy that they brought in for a genuinely good reason, whilst at the same time saying to councils, we've got to protect the community from rate capping, from increased rates, and we're going to cap rates, but at the same time they don't apply the same rules to themselves. So I support the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Ward. Any other councillors wish to speak for or against? Councillor Kerr.
I speak for it.
Okay.
I fully agree with my colleagues that have spoken for it, and all the points that they've brought up I totally agree with, and I cannot see why we should be collecting taxes for the state government. We're local government, and it is just going to be very confusing to our ratepayers when they get a rate notice with a government tax included.
Well, thank you, Councillor Kerr. Anyone else wish to speak for or against? Councillor Berry.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'm speaking against it mainly because it concerns me, and I said earlier that if, I know this is just a letter and we'll get some information, but my concern is the content of the letter. And I think when you look at where this tax came from in the beginning, it was put in place because the insurance companies used to collect it, and not the percentage of people who weren't insuring their houses. So there's a fire levy on it, and that money contributed then to the fire services, that they had to put something in place so everybody was expected to pay for it. And my concern is that if we start this process and we take it through, that the costs will become even higher if we don't collect it, because basically the state government need to know where the money's coming from through local government, because we're the ones that have got the properties noted, all the households noted. They would still be relying on us, I think, for addresses so that they could issue those fees out to.
Right. Thank you, Councillor Berry. Anyone else wishes for or against? Sorry, Councillor Freeman, you had a go. You don't get a second one. Councillor Bingham, you'll close off this debate, keeping in mind you can't introduce more new information to your previous discussion.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Now, the notion that state government don't have the ability to find out the information of how many people live in the state is ridiculous. So the state government used to collect the fire service levy. They impose it on the local government because they constantly treat local government like their punching bag. We bear the brunt of this, yet we receive no financial benefit from charging the fire service levy to our residents. Now, it is not the role to direct state government and provide them options, but if they wanted an option, the State Revenue Office is the perfect department to collect such a tax. This extra tax will result, no doubt, in many deferrals of rate notices, and no doubt we will start to see a lot more financial hardship applications on our desk. And at the end of the day, it's the community that suffers because we won't get that money to provide it for infrastructure, to provide services, whether it's aged care, youth, what have it be. Make no mistake, the community will suffer under this new tax. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Bingham. So we have a mover in Councillor Bingham, a seconder in Councillor Sullivan. Is there any dissent? Yes, thank you. Those in favour? So carried. Thank you. Now, I know that I've had a late dispatch, that there's no GB tonight, so Councillor Vendetti Taylor, you have a urgent business. We can just do it? It's just not on the sheet. That's all right. Just check it, boss. Oh, no, we're going to do general business. So we'll do it in this round. So we'll start with you, Councillor Sullivan.
No general business.
Thank you. Councillor Carr. No that's general business, yeah? Oh, no, but you can do it urgently if you like. Councillor Taylor, down. You've got some GB.
General business. I'd like to call for a report for costing of turf wickets at Mattingley Park.
Yeah, this is interesting, isn't it? Yeah, I would have thought we would have done that in urgent business rather than general business, but what we'll do, we'll put it through as a report, but it'll have to be moved and seconded. So do we need a motion for this, Mr CEO?
Through the chair, it's actually quite a simple report for us because we've just built a turf wicket, so it's actually quite a simple thing for us to give to council. I don't think it requires a report; it's just a cost. So we're happy to do that. It's just a cost estimate.
You happy with that, Councillor Taylor? Very good. You have any other general business?
We talk about what we've done.
You can if you wish. It is council reports, but we haven't
at the end, council report.
There you go.
That'll do me.
We haven't got any of these written on the agenda, that's all. So, all right, Councillor Minari.
No general business, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Freeman.
No general business, thank you.
Councillor Berry.
No general business, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Bingham.
No general business, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Ward.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to submit these questions. So there was 5 questions I submitted. I had queries that I was chasing up information on, and I'll just quickly work my way through them. First of all, a revised notice of motion was put up at the OMC on the 4th of October 2023, calling for a report on homelessness in Moorabool. And with the recent indication that homelessness is increasing, I'm just wondering when we can have that update and that report presented to council.
Who'd like to take that? Oh, Lee.
Through the chair, the report is currently being drafted, Councillor Ward, and is scheduled for the March OMC.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr Mayor, the second one was the Lerderderg River walking track. I've had several residents, obviously, I live in that part of the Shire, and I'm aware of the high usage of people for exercising, both hiking and bike riding across the Lerderderg River walking track. And I understand that there's been some years where Moorabool has not maintained that track for reasons that I won't go into now. I'm just wondering what is the plans for future maintenance of the Lerderderg River walking track?
Is that for you, Mr Jeffrey, or but obviously didn't want it.
Through you, Mr Mayor, it's probably a bit complex to just try and, because there's various sections of that Lerderberg River walking trail, but if it's a section adjacent to the golf course, which I assume Councillor Ward is talking about, that's currently not on our register of paths that we maintain, and that's an old council resolution.
So we've got to take most of that on notice, Mr Jeffrey.
I think I'd be better off, developing a proper answer.
Happy with that, Councillor Ward? Yes.
The next one, Mr Mayor, and I know you're across this, is a committee was formed in Bungaree in 2021 by passionate community volunteers to establish a Bungaree rail loop walking trail, proposing 3 stages, 5 kilometres Bungaree to Wallace, stage 2 would be Wallace to Millbrook, stage 3 would be Bungaree to Dunstown, and a future opportunity may exist to link it to the City of Ballarat rail trail, which currently is running from Skipton to Ballarat, but is proposed to run through to Warren Heap. I understand the complexities of that have gone on in negotiations with that, and I appreciate the update in the CIB this week. I'm just wondering for those residents watching in or listening in, if we can give our residents an update on that, because I know the committee is very passionate about this, Mr Mayor.
Mr CEO.
Through the chair. So officers have met with, so we need to be clear that this land is not council's land. This land is belonging to VicTrack. So council officers had meetings, and there's ongoing conversations around conflicting uses that could happen on that particular site. So council officers are dealing with VicTrack and the third party around how that site can be managed. Our view is that it's difficult to manage with all of the uses that everybody wants to use it for. But the discussions are ongoing.
Thank you.
Any questions regarding that?
I do have a question, Mr Mayor, if I may. Are we, as council, able to share that information that was in the CLB with that volunteer committee? That update?
I would have thought.
Yeah, through the chair, that's no issue.
Thank you.
Councillor Ward, you've got another one.
Yep. I moved a motion at the RMC on the 7th of August 2024 that council write seeking a commitment that commitments given when Bacchus Marsh and Melton Regional Hospital, which was formerly part of Derry Ryder Health, merged with and was integrated into Western Health, would still be honoured. And that we write to the Premier and the Minister for Health, the chairperson of Western Health and a member for Eureka, that the commitments they gave at the time that the hospital will remain open, that the merger will not result in a net loss of jobs, noting the rapid population growth in and around Bacchus Marsh, which is expected to continue, that the hospital will receive increased funding and that community programs will continue. I notice that work is now starting on the Melton Hospital. I'm just wondering, have those letters been sent as requested, and if we've received a response, Mr Mayor?
Mr CEO, please.
Through the chair, yes, all of those letters were sent, and I will consolidate the responses and issue them to council.
You have another one, Councillor Ward?
Yeah, last one, and it's timely because tonight we discussed a community engagement plan as part of the council plan. I'm just wondering if council office could please, as part of the community engagement plan, come up with an opportunity or a proposed calendar or schedule to have coffee with the councillor sessions throughout the council. It'd be a great opportunity for councillors, if they're available, to attend them and to build. Noting that we no longer have wards, residents may no longer feel they have a local representative. And if we moved ourselves throughout the council to have these engagement sessions, and I just come up with coffee with the councillor as a slogan, I think it'd be great for understanding the community needs.
So you want a schedule? Is that what you're asking for?
Yes, please.
Yes. Mr CSO, is that something we can do?
Chair, I think that would be an individual councillor decision to do that. We would be happy to provide some branding material, etc. But I think the schedule is an individual councillor's decision, and council would also need to be aware around the Local Government Act around assemblies of council and that kind of thing. So if all councils were turning up en masse, what that would entail. So there's probably some intricacies there, but I think it's a decision for the individual councillors. But I acknowledge the idea, and I think it's a very good idea for the councillors to have coffee with the public.
Very good. Now. We've got no mayor's report, but I think we still have to move it, don't we? Even though there isn't one. We have none of this is on the schedule, so if I get someone to move the non-mayor's report. Thank you. One second, somebody. Those in favour? So carried. All right, now we're going to do councillor reports, even though not really sure what we're going to do here.
Nothing
Councillor Sullivan,
to
do?
report since last week.
Yes. Councillor Cow.
Nothing to report, Mr Mayor.
Now, Councillor Taylor.
Attended two events. Obviously, the Emergency Services Expo at St Anne's Winery. I'd like to congratulate all the emergency services that were there. I brought my kids along and they loved the interaction, 3D glasses, and I think it was the Bacchus Marsh CFA putting out fires with the 3D, and they had high pressure hoses pushing things down the hose, and police and obviously council had the tent set up there, and obviously the market was going on. A beautiful day for it. There was plenty of people in attendance, and really well done to everyone there. And obviously the second one, the Bacchus Marsh Christmas Festival and the carols by candlelight, obviously that you were there as well. Absolutely sensational. The fireworks were great. Stack of people there. Really good to see. Anything that we can do to support those events and keep them going and keep them growing is really good. Obviously had a lot of rides, interaction, and I really commend both events that I went to, and really thoroughly enjoyed both.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Minari.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to thank Council for adding the Nelson family to the Christmas carols again this year that have gone around the towns and are performing. And so I think there might be one more maybe, so I encourage people to get along. There's a lovely musical family that support Council every year with putting that show on. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Minari. Councillor Freeman.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I did attend my first meeting of the Wellbeing Advisory Committee. It's a fantastic committee, and I've learnt a lot more about what's going on, and looking forward to hearing and attending a lot more of those meetings. I did also attend the Christmas market on Saturday. Took along 3 grandchildren, and cost me a fortune, but found it they absolutely loved it. And regarding Coffee with a Councillor, I am looking at hopefully starting something early in the new year, probably in about February, in that area, because I think Councillor Ward's, it is a good initiative. We've already got Coffee with a Cop, so I think Coffee with a Councillor will be a great benefit.
Councillor Freeman.
Thank you.
Councillor Berry.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I too attended the Emergency Services Expo at St Anne's Winery this year. It was a great exhibition once again, and well done to the Mirrabul Shire officers who manned their tent. It was great to see the helicopter there this year. I think it missed out last year because of the weather, but there was a lot of people there, as Councillor Venditti Taylor did say also. I then attended the Nelson Family Six and the Balan Choir in Bacchus Marsh last Friday night, and had a nice sing-along to all the carols, and it was nice to see a variety of ages amongst the Balan Choir in particular, the youngest being a 13-year-old, and also Carey Grieve being part of that, one of our staff members, part of that choir. So that was a lovely afternoon. They did, however, finish up a little bit earlier because the weather became too warm. So thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Bigham.
Nothing to report, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Ward.
Nothing to report, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Ward. Will someone move to council reports? Councillor Sullivan, second Councillor Bigham. Any dissent? Those in favour? So carried. Did we, just a question, did we have an urgent business on the fire break? It's been resolved, thank you. Just checking to make sure we get out there. Right, now we're going to close this part of the meeting so we can, so it'll be a 5-minute break. I'll get someone moved so we adjourn. Thank you, Councillor Bigham. Councillor Berry, those in favour. So carried. Have a 5-minute break. We'll come back and do the confidential.